It was a quiet Sunday morning when Henry stood at the doorway of his own house, watching his father slowly pack up the few things he owned. The old man's trembling hands folded a faded photograph of Henry's late mother, tucking it into his worn-out bag. Henry's wife, Claire, stood behind him, arms crossed, eyes cold as winter glass. "Henry, this can't go on," she snapped. "Your father's old habits are ruining this home. Either he goes, or I do." The words sliced through the air. Henry wanted to argue, to say something, anything, but fear of losing his wife glued his tongue to the roof of his mouth. He looked at his father, frail, tired, silent. The man who had raised him alone, who worked double shifts just to put him through college, now standing there like an unwanted guest. "Dad," Henry murmured, voice cracking. "Maybe it's best if you stay somewhere else for a while." The old man didn't look angry. He just nodded, as if he'd expected this moment. He patted his son's shoulder softly. "You take care, son," he whispered, stepping out into the dim light. The door closed behind him, and with it, something inside Henry's chest closed too. Days turned into weeks. The house felt quiet, almost too quiet. Claire seemed content. Cleaner counters, fewer old man stories at dinner. But Henry's heart was restless. He started waking up in the middle of the night, haunted by the image of his father's face. One night, he dreamed. He found himself standing in a blinding white field, the kind of place where time didn't exist. And there, walking toward him, was a man clothed in light. His eyes were kind, yet piercing, as if they could see through every wall Henry had built inside himself. "Why did you send him away?" the voice asked, not loud, but powerful enough to make Henry tremble. "I thought it was for the best," Henry said, choking on his own words. The figure's expression didn't change. "You thought love was convenience. You thought peace meant silence. But love isn't comfort. It's sacrifice." The light around the figure grew stronger, and for the first time, Henry saw his father's silhouette standing behind the man. The old man smiled gently. Then everything went dark. Henry woke up gasping, sweat covering his face, tears already streaming. Claire stirred beside him. "What's wrong?" she asked groggily. He didn't answer. He just got up, grabbed his keys, and left. The early morning streets were empty. The sky was bruised with the colors of dawn as Henry drove aimlessly, hoping, praying, to find his father. He went to the park, the diner, even the old church his dad used to visit every Sunday. No sign. Until, finally, he saw a familiar figure sitting on a bench, feeding the pigeons. Henry slammed the car door and ran toward him. The old man looked up slowly, surprise flickering in his tired eyes. "Dad," Henry's voice broke. He fell to his knees in front of him, clutching his father's rough, cold hands. "I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. Please come home." The father smiled faintly. "Home? Son, my home has always been where your heart is. I just didn't want to stand in the way of your peace." Henry's tears came harder. "You were my peace," he whispered. They sat there in silence as the sun rose higher, painting the world gold. For the first time in months, Henry felt warmth, not from the sunlight, but from something deeper. He drove his father back home that morning. Claire stood at the doorway, speechless, watching as Henry helped the old man inside. The tension that once filled the house had dissolved into something quiet, gentle, and real. That night, for the first time in a long while, they all sat together at the table. The food didn't matter. The conversation didn't matter. Only the presence did. And when Henry glanced at his father across the table, a strange calm washed over him. He didn't see frailty anymore. He saw strength, love, grace.